When I walk through the forest like this, without being seen, without a face, without a role, I'm reminded of something Jung understood very clearly. The psyche needs wilderness, not metaphorically, literally. The modern woman lives almost entirely in what Jung called the persona, the social mask, the adapted self, the version of us that knows how to function, perform, succeed, belong. And we are very good at it. We learn early how to be acceptable, how to be efficient, how to be attractive, articulate, composed. But the persona was never meant to be a home. It's a bridge. And when you live on a bridge for too long, you forget where you were going. Many women today are exhausted, not because they do too much, but because they live too far away from their inner center, from the self. In Jungian psychology, the self is not the ego. It is not the personality. It is the totality of who we are, conscious and unconscious, and spiritual, instinctual also. The self does not live in cities. It lives in symbols, in dreams, in the body, in nature. This is why the forest matters. The forest is the external image of the unconscious. In myths and fairy tales, whenever a woman enters the forest, she is not going for a walk. She is entering an initiation, and she will lose something, an identity, a certainty, a false safety, and she will meet something else. The wild woman, the witch, the healer, the one who knows. These figures are not romantic ideas. They are archetypal realities. They represent parts of the feminine psyche that cannot survive under constant observation. And in the city, the feminine is over-socialized, over-corrected, overexposed. The nervous system never rests, the psyche never decent. And so the shadow grows. It becomes anxiety, depression, compulsion, emotional numbness, or endless comparison with other women. Comparison is not a moral failure. It is a symptom of disconnection from the self. If you do not know who you are, you will measure yourself against others. But the psyche was never meant to be compared. Each soul carries a different pattern. This is something modern culture refuses to respect. It treats a woman as variations of the same temperature. Improve this, fix that, and change here, correct there. But the unconscious does not work that way. The unconscious speaks in images, not standards. And this is where nature becomes essential. When a woman enters the forest, the persona loosens its grip. There is no one to impress here. No mirror, no audience, and so the shadow begins to soften. The nervous system downshifts, the body remembers all the rhythms, and this is not poetic language. The psyche cannot individuate in a state of chronic alert. Individuation, the process Jung described as becoming who you truly are, requires safety. and safety is sensed, not explained. The forest offers a very specific kind of safety. Nothing is pretending. Trees do not lie. Animals do not perform. Life here is aligned with instinct and limitation. This gives the unconscious permission to emerge. This is why women often feel emotional, unsettled, or deeply calm when they are alone in nature. The psyche is reorganizing itself. Old identities loosen, old defenses soften. Grief often appears, not pathological grief, existential grief. Grief for years spent living as a fragment. Grief for the parts of the soul that were never invited to the table. In Jungian terms, this is the beginning of wholeness, not happiness, wholeness. And wholeness includes darkness also. The wild feminine is not polite. She is truthful. She knows when to say no. She knows when to leave. She knows when to rest. And she's not optimized. She's aligned. This is why the forest has always been feared and revered. It dissolves illusions. And here is something important. The goal is not to escape the city. The goal is to stop confusing adaptation with identity. You can live in the world without belonging entirely to it, but only if you maintain a relationship with your unconscious, with silence, with solitude, with places that do not demand performance. In my work, I see this again and again. Women do not need to be fixed. They need to be reconnected to their bodies, to their instincts, to their symbolic life. The soul speaks quietly, and it speaks most clearly when the ego steps back. So if you feel drawn to forests, to islands, to a wide open land, do not analyze it away. This is not regression. This is the psyche seeking balance. You were never meant to live entirely on the surface. You were meant to descend. You were never meant to live entirely on the surface. You were meant to return, to remember. And the forest remembers you, even when you forget yourself.